I'm excited about this week's Tech Tuesday topic because it came from one of you. I love getting ideas from all of you and what you want to learn and hear about. So if you have an idea, please share it with me. This week's topic is about expanding your PLN, your personal learning network, to other forms besides Twitter, and how to keep it all organized. If you remember, Jeff Zoll, our closing keynote speaker from the PD Academy, spoke about the impact that being connected to other educators on social media, especially Twitter, can have on your teaching. But Twitter isn't the only way to be connected. Blogs and podcasts are two other significant ways that we can find new ideas about the content and tools we use. The Cult of Pedagogy blog is a big one I know many of us follow, and I'm also a huge fan of free technology for teachers, and as you already know from episode 1, Shake Up Learning, whose creator, Casey Bell, also has a podcast called The Google Teacher Tribe that she also hosts with Matt Miller, our opening speaker from the PD Academy. Matt also has his own blog and podcast with his brand Ditch That Textbook. Now, you may be asking, how do I find people to follow? It's really as simple as doing a Google search for educational blogs or educational podcasts. You'll quickly find articles on the top 100 blogs to follow or the top 10 teacher blogs you should be following. Don't worry, there's plenty to choose from. The problem will be cultivating all of it, and my best advice is the same that we give to our students when we're having them research. Evaluate your websites. If the site you're viewing looks professional, clean, and organized, it's probably a good site. But if the colors are clashing and they haven't posted in 6 months, it's probably best to move on. Another thing to look at is the number of comments, especially with blogging. If there's a large amount of comments, then this is someone who's probably been doing this a while and has a devoted following. And that's another thing. Look at their About page and see how long they've been teaching and what their credentials are. If you're just starting out, I would pick no more than 5 or 6 blogs or podcasts to follow, and if you find you just aren't reading or listening to one of them, try a new one. I clean out my list of blogs when I realize I'm not really paying attention to one of them, and that's when I know it's time to move on. As of this recording, I have 13 blogs on my list. I'll share those with you down below. Now, do I read them every day? Not even remotely. I try to catch up when I can. Sometimes that's when I'm getting ready in the morning or if I'm waiting for an appointment. I don't see every post, and that's okay. But how do I keep track of all of them? I use what's called an RSS feed reader. This essentially compiles all of the posts from all of the blogs that I want to read into one place and allows me to read them whenever I want. There are several to choose from: Feedly, the old reader, iKnowReader, and the G2 reader. Feedly is by far the most popular because of its use of images, clean look, and features that include creating collections and also being able to keep up with your YouTube subscriptions. I prefer the old reader because of its simple style and lack of ads and additional features, but that's just me. There's a link to an article comparing these readers down below if you'd like to learn more. Now, podcasts are an entirely different thing and something that I've only recently just tried for myself for the first time. And strangely enough, it all came about with just a simple conversation. Getting ready for deployment one night, Patty Gillum was talking about one of the podcasts she'd been listening to, and I mentioned that this is something that I'd been wanting to try, but really didn't know how to get started with it. She gave me some pointers and said that Matt McCormick knew quite a bit about podcasts too. So it's funny how just one conversation led to me now listening to podcasts. Matt uses an app called Podcast Addict that he uses to subscribe to podcasts. And while he likes this one, he also suggested I try the new Google Podcast app since I have a Google Pixel phone. We're trying both of them and want to compare notes in the future, but in the meantime, I'm really liking the Google Podcast app so far. Both are available on the Play Store, but not on iOS. Apple has their own podcast app that should already be on your device. I've also given you a couple of links to some lists that you can choose from as well. Now, I did have a conversation with a teacher this week that I kind of think is worth mentioning. They were feeling just overwhelmed by being on Twitter and being connected to a lot of other people and still finding time for lesson planning. And yes, it's definitely overwhelming. I know from personal experience when I first became an ITRT, I was trying to get my hands on everything social media and how I could be connected to other teachers and finding different examples that I could share with the teachers in my building. And eventually I just really got burnt out on it. There's just a lot to keep up with and it can be very overwhelming. It's really just a matter of balance. It might be that you find a couple of people that you follow and that's okay, just a couple of people. Or you might just be connecting with the other teachers in your building. The point is though, whether you're connecting with teachers inside or outside of Manassas Park is not to be an island. As teachers, we get better by seeing what others are doing. George Couros, in his book, The Innovator's Mindset, has a chapter on embracing an open culture. His idea is, and I'm paraphrasing this, the best way to become a better educator is to have access to other educators. Go into classrooms every single day. Get a chance to observe and then absorb what great educators do. Reading this really spoke to me, and that's why this year I'm really trying to push myself to share out more and connect with other educators more. But that doesn't mean that you have to be on Twitter or read 1,000 blogs. Those alone won't make you a better educator. The whole point about being connected is making connections, and that can be inside or outside our buildings. I hope this week's topic has been helpful to you and will keep you not only connected, but will also help you find some good ideas too. See you on the next episode of Tech Tuesday.